DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good afternoon or good morning, and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. Blue Ridge Schools Administration is inviting the community out for an annual event that allows them to get a taste of what's happening in their schools and give their thoughts. On the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday, Ryan Payton, superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools, told the Heart Media Group they are hosting their annual Blue Ridge Connect event at their April 15th Board of Education meeting.
So, we try to do at least a few different opportunities throughout the year to get stakeholder engagement and to kind of share information about, kind of what's going on in the district and give opportunities for community members to ask questions and just really to hear updates about district initiatives. And so we are doing that next month. It's going to be April 15th. It'll actually be in Bellflower. So every year we try to kind of make sure that we incorporate each of our three towns into different events. And so the spring event will be at Bellflower. It'll take place on April 15th, like I said, at 5:15. So we invite everyone to come out and be a part of that. It's going to be a really cool event. We start off with our STEM club here at the high school. Actually, we'll kick it off with some engaging activities to kind of get some hands-on learning activities for just all the stakeholders involved that day.
According to Payton, the community will be able to hear about some of the new things happening next year. The district is planning for some more early dismissal days, but they are also aware of the scheduling bind that can create for families, so they are trying to do something about that.
We'll dive into some topics related to next school year. We are looking to do teacher collab early out days. We'll do about 6 of those next year that are new. So we'll get that around 1:30ish, and that'll give teachers time to really dive into data and be intentional about looking at data in regards to student learning artifacts or assessment data, and really have an opportunity to problem solve and to just really grow in our instructional practices to improve student outcomes. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that and that process. And then also we will dive into how we're going to help support some families during that time as well. We know that sometimes, with having some of those early out type events, people are having to get off work a little bit early, or we've actually been able to create a partnership with the Clinton YMCA. So we're going to offer some after school programming on those early out days to support families that are in need of some childcare.
Payton reminds that the event comes up on April 15th, an hour before the scheduled Board of Education meeting in Bellflower. Payton encourages downloading the Blue Ridge Schools app or following them on Facebook for more. Coming up shortly on this expanded newscast, U of I Extension hosting Memory Preservation webinar. If you've procrastinated filing your taxes, a Clinton financial coach is highlighting some of the changes to the tax code that many may find beneficial. On the WHOW Morning Show Wednesday, Connie Miller with the DeWitt Savings Bank in Clinton told the Heart Media Group that the big beautiful bill passed by the Trump administration provides several changes to tax filing that will be beneficial.
Yes, well, we had the one big beautiful bill and there were some tax changes, most of them sort of positive. I mean, my marginal tax bracket actually went down and our taxes were less this year. And one of the biggest pieces was our standard deduction. It's $31,500 for a married couple right now, and then for single filers it's $15,750. But another thing that really helped this year for our family was the SALT deduction. That stands for state and local taxes deduction. Mm-hmm. It used to be a cap of $10,000. That would be your state income taxes, your property taxes, and then interest on your home if you have a mortgage capped out around 10,000. Now it's 40,000 for married filing jointly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a huge increase. So
Yeah.
there's more people itemizing than there used to be because of that. But also some other fun things for people who maybe are workers who receive tips.
Mhm.
There's no tax on tips up to 25,000
Mhm.
for those who actually report them.
Miller reminds that if you are a worker who relies on tips to claim those dollars in your taxes, she explains those dollars can be very important when you go to apply for a home, apartment, or vehicle, as you want to prove that you can afford those essentials.
And you know, this is a great this I want to caveat this, that when people go to get a loan and let's say they're a server and their W-2 shows they make $12,000,
Mhm.
but they're really making 40,
Mhm.
that's a problem
Mhm.
because they're not reporting on their taxes, so we don't have anything to verify what their income really is. So this gives you an opportunity to report all your taxes
Mhm.
and not have to pay tax on or all your tips and not have
Mhm.
to pay taxes on them.
Sure.
And then it shows up for when you're looking to buy a house or get a car loan because it shows up as income. And you
Okay.
need to have
Yeah.
the income for them to
Mhm.
loan you the money.
Sure.
So it's sort of a good thing. Of a no tax on overtime up to 12,500. I know there's a lot of people, especially in medical and law enforcement, who do a lot of overtime. So this is good news for them.
Among other changes to the tax code this year includes an enhanced senior deduction and an auto loan interest deduction.
And then we have an enhanced senior deduction. It's 6,000 additional deduction for if you're over 65.
Mhm.
As of January was it 2nd of 61 if you're born after January 2nd of 61
Mhm.
or before then, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we also had something new this year is an auto loan interest deduction if you bought your car. I believe it's in 2025 or it was after December 31st of 2024, and there's certain types that you can buy, you can deduct your interest on your car.
If you worry about losing track of all these changes, Miller says almost any software you use to file your taxes will have prompts for these things. If you've already filed your taxes but are unsure if you made note of these changes in your filings, you can amend those.
It's all in there. They have all the updated information is in
Mhm.
there, and the system's going to ask them to put like their state. It automatically shows their state taxes, their property taxes, all that. You enter it,
Mhm.
and it will compute for you which is the better to take, the
Okay.
standard or the itemized deduction. And that's
Mhm.
something. Whereas for a while, people stopped keeping receipts for their charity because they
Mhm.
knew they're just going to do the standard deduction. It might be time to start holding on to those receipts again.
Mm. Miller cautions against utilizing information you find on social media, as much of what she has seen is not only misleading, but is criminally inaccurate. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full service dealer. See us at baumchevybuick.com right from the start.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to fiber fast internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
News time is 18 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. As we age, it becomes more and more important to keep our minds and memories sharp. Terry Casey, director of the University of Illinois Extension in Logan, Menard, and Sangamon counties, explains that everyone has memory slips, but there are some simple strategies that can be used to help avoid them.
So we're going to talk about everyday memory slips, why they happen, and how to support them. Why do we sometimes forget? Forget to take our medicine. Oh, we forgot that call. We were supposed to bring something and we didn't. That happens. That's a normal part of life, being busy, but it's also a normal part of aging. And so it's good to know the difference between when is that signaling something we need to be concerned with, and when is it just part of nature. And so Liza Baby is going to be talking about speech and hearing science, because we often forget that those things are tied in together, right? Some of the first signs that we may begin to see with folks who are having some memory issues is some speech differences. Maybe they're finding a link now between hearing issues and the onset of dementia. So this is a scientist who has a lot of interesting information related to that, but also just memory in general. So looking at the brain science behind it, EEG research, how it goes to remembering to remember, and then also some simple home evidence-based strategies to support and protect your memory.
While bringing awareness to signs of dementia is extremely important for those reaching their golden years, Casey says keeping your memory strong from an early age can benefit you later in life.
Well, I agree. It's good to know the symptoms so that we can be early intervention with folks. It's also good to alleviate stress when we just have a normal memory slip. But I think it's also good for everybody because it is important to work on our memory. We know that people with strong memories tend to be a little better protected against some of the onsets of dementia. So yeah, I think this is for everyone. And we live in a very, very busy world with many, many distractions. I think we can all attest to that now. And so I do think that in general, people are struggling with their memories more, even if they don't have a clinical issue. So yeah, I do think this is for everyone. And if nothing else, you'll come away with a little bit more knowledge and just be that much, if you remember everything, you'll be that much more helpful to the people around you.
Right. This webinar takes place on April 8th from noon to 1 p.m. Learn more and register at extension.illinois.edu/LMS. Farmers are getting set for the 2026 planting and growing season, and information is being shared by the Growing Matters Be Sure campaign, specifically when using treated seed, says Andy Levine with the American Seed Trade Association.
Well, first and foremost, as we always say, just read and understand that label and follow it carefully. Make sure that you're using a good advanced seed flow lubricant that helps to minimize any dust off that maybe happen. If you do happen to spill a little bit of those, valuable genetics in the soil, clean up what you can or cover that seed spill. And also always communicate with local beekeepers if you know they're in the area. And then you really want to make sure that your employees are understanding that it is a treated seed and that the label is important, and they all also understand what that label requires.
For practical stewardship guidance, visit growmatters.org/be sure. How receptive is Governor J.B. Pritzker to estate tax reform in Illinois? He was asked about the Family Farm Preservation Act, a key priority of the Illinois Farm Bureau.
And I will say that, look, it's not something that, as you know, it's not been a priority of mine. I think there are people who look at me and think, estate tax cut is not something that Pritzker should be the advocate for. But I understand very much so how impactful it is in a negative way on farmers and on small business people. And so if we can put together a package that makes sense, and I've seen the act, but it's got to go through the legislature and get to my desk, that I do think it's something that I could support, as long as it includes the kind of tax break that I think is appropriate to preserving small farms and small businesses.
Pritzker addressed the question at last week's Ag Legislative Day in Springfield. Taking a look at some rainfall totals from the rain throughout yesterday. and we had quite a bit over the last couple of days as well. Looking at Decatur, or let's start in DeWitt County, rather. In Clinton, we have 1.75 inches of rain reported within the city of Clinton. But even in the eastern part of DeWitt County, just southwest of Farmer City, 2 inches of rain reported. Also seeing 1.75 inches of rain reported as well. So got dumped on in much of DeWitt County. Going south to the Decatur area in Macon County on the northeast side, just south of Oriana, 1.45 inches of rain reported yesterday. On the first, 1.60 inches of rain recorded southeast of Mount Zion, between Mount Zion and Dalton City in Macon County. But then within closer to the city limits on the west side of the city of Decatur, only 1.12 inches of rain reported there. If we go west from Decatur out to Springfield, not as much rain reported out here. 0.66 inches of rain reported in Springfield, even seeing 0.34 inches of rain around the lake on the southeast side of Springfield. But then if you go south of town, east of Chatham, 1.45 inches of rain, so a little bit more south of Springfield there. And even in the northwest part of Christian County, 1.57 inches of rain reported. But then down in Taylorville in central Christian County, 0.58 inches of rain reported. And getting to the big numbers here as we move a little bit northwards to Logan County, quite a bit of rain reported in Lincoln, 2.4 inches of rain, as well as 2.78 inches of rain reported in central city of Lincoln. On the northeast side of town, 2.93 inches of rain reported. In New Holland, 3.08, so over 3 inches of rain reported there. And then between Atlanta and Lincoln, I see 3.75, so 3.75 inches of rain reported in northeastern Logan County. In McLean County, in Hayworth, 3.43 inches of rain reported, and in Leroy, the same number, 3.43 inches of rain reported there. But in Bloomington and the normal area, just about an inch of rain reported, 1.1 inches, 1.2 inches around there. On the southwest side of town, even 3/4 of an inch of rain there. But then as we head east in McLean County, 1.86 inches of rain reported west of Ellsworth, and 1.59 inches of rain reported north of Aerosmith. And then on the very east side of the county, northeast of Bellflower, 2.3 inches of rain reported there. Knowing food safety tips regarding Easter eggs will make for a celebration free of foodborne bacteria and fun activities. Rod Bain reports. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWitt County's #1 source for news, sports, police blotter, obituaries, and more. DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Touting the success of Operation Epic Fury, President Trump says the war on Iran is winding down and should be over very soon. In the meantime, he's warning Tehran to make a deal with the U.S. or else Iran's power plants, he says, will be hit hard in the coming few weeks. NASA's Artemis 2 lunar mission is off to a great start. Last night's launch from the Kennedy Space Center, 4 astronauts now on their way to a close encounter with the moon. A new agreement on Department of Homeland Security funding means the partial government shutdown, the longest ever, could soon be over. The agreement reached between House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune. The Senate could take up the proposed deal as early as today. Watching Wall Street, Dow futures down 581. The NASDAQ futures off 452 points. This is SRN News.
These are uncertain times. Ongoing geopolitical tensions in the Middle East and beyond continue to shake global markets, driving up energy costs and creating widespread volatility. Gold has responded as history shows it does, climbing to new highs as a proven safe haven against inflation and unrest. Silver follows strong, offering even more protection for diversified portfolios. Call True Gold Republic at 800-300-GOLD for your free guide on protecting your retirement. If you're 55 or older, approaching or enjoying retirement, and have significant savings, you understand why stability matters now more than ever. Paper assets can vanish in a crisis, but precious metals have endured for generations. True Gold Republic helps Americans like you protect what you've built with real gold and silver IRAs. Call 800-300-GOLD for your free wealth protection guide today. No obligation, just information. Consult your tax professional before investing. Call 800-300-4653. That's 800-300-GOLD.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. A wind advisory begins at 10 a.m. today. Thunderstorms likely today, otherwise cloudy skies expected. High temperatures reach up to 73. Winds out of the south, 20 to 25 miles per hour. Chance for storms tonight, lows level off around 54, partly cloudy skies. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com. Currently 56.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. In a game heard on WHOW and all its digital platforms, the Clinton Maroons defeated the Gibson City-Melvin-Sibley Falcons by a final score of 14-4 in 5 innings of high school non-conference baseball action on Wednesday night in Clinton. Starting Falcons pitcher Zeb Greer opened the game with 14 consecutive balls and walked the first 5 batters before being pulled in the first. The Maroons took advantage of the pitching and made the score 8-1 after the first. The Maroons added 3 more runs in the second and third innings to build the lead to 14-1. In the top of the 5th, Jack Andrews hit a double and was brought home by a Jace Elder single. Connor Kinzinger hit a sac fly in the inning to score Jason Christensen to make it 14-4. Jackson Reynolds, Brock Wilson, Mitchell Cornwell, and Cole Fentress each went 1 for 2 at the plate with 2 runs scored. Cornwell added 3 RBIs, while Wilson had 2. On the mound, Jaden Bell made his first start and gave up 4 runs and 4 hits while striking out 3 in 3 innings to earn the win. Ryan Pine twirled 2 innings of relief and struck out 3. Lane Elder had a 1-for-1 performance at the plate with a run scored, while Jack Andrews went 1 for 3 with a run scored. Following Greer, Jace Elder came in during the first inning and pitched 2 innings while allowing 4 runs on 4 hits and striking out 1. Lane Elder tossed another 2 innings and allowed 4 runs on 3 hits and struck out 2. With the win, the Maroons improved to 5-3, while GCMS falls to 3-2. Clinton is back in action today when they play host to the Shelbyville Rams. First pitch is at 4:30 p.m. Sandy Alcantara threw his first complete game of the MLB season in a 93-pitch shutout to lead the Miami Marlins over the Chicago White Sox 10-0 on Wednesday.
The White Sox wrapped up their road trip 1-5 and were baffled in the series finale by Sandy Alcantara, who fired his second career Maddox. The old complete game shutout in under 100 pitches. The best thing going for the White Sox may be an unanticipated day off for the team on Thursday afternoon, or a mental reset, if nothing else, now that the home opener has been postponed until Friday afternoon at 1:10. Sox fans, if you're heading to the home opener on Friday, parking lots open at 10 a.m., 3 hours prior to first pitch. I'm Jeff Meller, and I'll have your pregame coverage for the home opener at 12:30 right here on the ESP 1000 Hard Rock Casino White Sox Network.
Right-handed pitcher Sean Burke will start Chicago's home opener against Toronto on Thursday. Right-handed pitcher Dylan Cease will start for the Blue Jays. Mason Wynn singled home the winning run with 2 outs in the 11th inning to give the St. Louis Cardinals a 2-1 victory over the slumping New York Mets on Wednesday. Nolan Gorman hit a tying single in the 6th, and reliever Gordon Graceffo pitched out of a bases-loaded 1-out jam in the top of the 11th. St. Louis took 2 of 3 games from the Mets, who went 1 for 29 with runners in scoring position during the series, including going 0 for 11 in the finale. New York, who is 3-3, is batting 162 in those situations this year. Juan Soto homered for the Mets in the 6th, right after Francisco Lindor got picked off first base by starter Matthew Liberatore. With 2 outs and automatic runner J.J. Weatherholt on third, Wynn lofted a blooper to shallow right field that fell just in front of diving rookie Carson Bench. It was the first hit of the series for Wynn and his first career walk-off RBI. He is 4 for 25 this season. Tobias Myers worked 1 2/3 inning in a hard luck loss. Freddie Peralta was charged with 1 run and 3 hits over 5 1/3 innings in his second start for the Mets. He struck out 7 and walked 2. The right-hander gave up a leadoff single in the 6th to Weatherholt, who scored on Gorman's 2-out single off Huascar Brazoban. Liberatore allowed 1 run and 3 hits in 6 innings. The start was delayed an hour because of rain. St. Louis improved to 2-0 in extra innings, while New York dropped to 1-2. Soto has hit safely in all 6 games this season. He's reached base safely in all 41 career games against St. Louis. The Mets left-handed pitcher David Peterson faces left-handed pitcher Robbie Ray in San Francisco on Thursday night, while for the Cardinals, following a day off, right-handed pitcher Michael McGreevy starts Friday in Detroit against left-handed pitcher Framber Valdez. Matthew Boyd struck out 10 while pitching into the 6th inning, and the Chicago Cubs beat the Los Angeles Angels 6-2 on Wednesday. Nico Horner had 3 hits for Chicago on a chilly and windy afternoon at Wrigley Field. Matt Shaw had 2 hits and 2 RBIs, and Alex Bregman reached 3 times in the rubber game of a 3-game series. Boyd allowed 2 runs, 1 earned on 2 hits over 5 2/3 innings in his second start of the season. The left-hander was tagged for 6 runs and 3 2/3 innings in a 10-4 loss to Washington on opening day. Zach Neto had 2 of the Angels' 4 hits. Yusei Kikuchi was charged with 5 runs and 6 hits in 5 1/3 innings. Chicago grabbed control with 5 runs in the 3rd inning. Miguel Amaya walked and scored from first on Horner's double into the gap in left center. Bregman singled in Horner, and Dansby Swanson drove in Ian Happ with a sacrifice fly. Shaw and Pete Crow Armstrong contributed 2-out RBI singles. First-year Los Angeles manager Kurt Suzuki wanted a replay review of the play at the plate when Amaya scored, but was denied by the umpires because he took too long to decide on the challenge. The Angels chased Boyd while scoring 2 runs in the 6th. Joe Adell singled in Neto, and Mike Trout scampered home on an error on Bregman at 3rd. The Cubs tacked on an unearned run in the 7th. Trout dropped Carson Kelly's leadoff fly ball to center for an error, and Kelly scored on Shaw's 1-out single. The Angels have an off day on Thursday, but left-handed pitcher Reed Detmers starts for the Angels in their home opener on Friday night. Right-handed pitcher Brian Wu takes the mound for Seattle. The Cubs right-handed pitcher Cade Horton starts the opener of a weekend series at Cleveland on Friday. Left-handed pitcher Joey Cantillo gets the ball for the Guardians. Pascal Siakam scored 25 points, and the Indiana Pacers beat the Chicago Bulls 145-126 on Wednesday night to move out of the NBA basement. Coming off a home victory over Miami on Sunday, the injury-ravaged Pacers had their highest-scoring game of the season. They improved to 18-58 to move a game ahead of last-place Washington. Ethan Thompson added 24 points, and Kobe Brown and Jay Huff each had 17. Gershon Yabusele led Chicago with 20 points, and Colin Sexton had 18. The Bulls have lost 5 straight, the first 4 on the road, to fall to 29-47. The Pacers are at Charlotte on Friday night, while the Bulls are at New York on Friday night. Trevor Moore scored 1 minute and 56 seconds into overtime to lift the Los Angeles Kings to a 2-1 victory over the St. Louis Blues on Wednesday night. Adrian Kempe also scored for the Kings, who moved into the second wildcard spot in the Western Conference, 1 point ahead of San Jose and Nashville. Anton Forsberg made 23 saves, including 1 in overtime for Los Angeles, which stopped a 4-game losing streak at home. Robert Thomas scored the only goal for the Blues on a deflection with 3 minutes and 53 seconds left in the third period to send it to overtime. Jordan Bennington stopped 24 shots in the loss, including 2 in the extra period. St. Louis is now 4 points behind Los Angeles for the second wildcard spot. Moore sped up the right side, outskated Jonathan Berggren, centered the puck, and snapped a shot past Bennington for the victory. Anze Kopitar and Drew Doughty assisted on the goal. With the Kings leading 1-0, Thomas went into the front of the net, and Philip Broberg's shot deflected off Thomas's skate and past Forsberg to tie it. After a scoreless first period, Jared Wright nearly put the Kings ahead midway through the second, but his goal was waved off for goaltender interference. Los Angeles got one that counted on Kempe's power play goal on a wrister with 3 minutes and 1 second left in the second period to put the Kings up 1-0. The Blues play at Anaheim on Friday night, while the Kings host Nashville on Thursday night. In scores from around the MLB, the Atlanta Braves beat the Athletics 5-1, while the Baltimore Orioles took down the Texas Rangers 8-3. The Pittsburgh Pirates beat the Cincinnati Reds 8-3, while the Philadelphia Phillies took down the Washington Nationals 6-5 in the 10th inning. The Colorado Rockies beat the Toronto Blue Jays 2-1 in the 10th inning, while the Milwaukee Brewers took down the Tampa Bay Rays 8-2. The Houston Astros beat the Boston Red Sox 6-4. And the Arizona Diamondbacks shut out the Detroit Tigers 1-0. The New York Yankees beat the Seattle Mariners 5-3, and the San Diego Padres took down the San Francisco Giants 7-1. The Kansas City Royals scored 13-9 over the Minnesota Twins, and the Cleveland Guardians beat the LA Dodgers 4-1. In scores from the NBA last night, the Atlanta Hawks beat the Orlando Magic 130-101, while the Philadelphia 76ers beat the Washington Wizards 153-131. The Boston Celtics beat the Miami